All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening. We're here at our favorite spot at the Williams National Museum here, located at 502 Montana on the corner of Hackberry. We are here with our round table, getting things going, and some looked over the questions already, but I don't think Queen looked at them yet, so.
Yes, indeed. I took a look.
Yeah, we may hit her up first.
Okay.
And we have Lakeisha Howard here. Let me switch my cameras around so we can see everybody. It usually works when I do that. You know, so let me do that real quick. There we go, got everybody in there. And yeah, Mr. Howard.
Yes.
All right, got him aboard. He came in to support his wife, and we had somebody that couldn't make it at the last minute. And he graciously enough to sat up in here, and we're going over some questions. He had some good answers. So, hey, want to be part of it? Sure, no problem. Appreciate it. And we got the queen right here, the Lion Queen. So,
Yes.
So.
Good evening.
And then via Zoom, let me let y'all see this young lady right here via Zoom. We have Dr. Crystal Cross. Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh,
Good evening.
I'll make sure that you were working right there. So are you still in the airport?
I am still at the airport.
Oh, are you flying?
I'm about to.
Oh, okay. All right. So we got the round table going today. It's been a little extreme lately. We had some things going on, and it is about, we're talking about your opinion matters. But before we get started on that, I want to go around the horn and let everybody introduce themselves and let them say what they do and all the good stuff. We're going to start off with Dr. Cross.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Crystal Cross. I am the steward of A Chicago Bite, a restaurant in San Antonio, Texas. And I am also the CEO of the Alamo City Black Chamber of Commerce in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, all right. Miss Queen?
Yes, I am the Lion Queen. I am a poet, an author, and a speaker.
Okay. Mr. Howard?
Yes, my name is Brian Howard. I'm just here.
And Miss Lakeisha?
I'm Lakeisha Howard. He's just here, but he's my man, and he do a lot. I am the owner of We Got You Corporation, where we mean exactly that. We got you in any aspect of life. We got you.
All right.
All right. And of course, I am just here. Like everybody else, I'm just here. I'm Ronald Gordon, owner of WSAN Radio. We started doing the round table again because so many people asked about it, because when the pandemic hit, we pretty well just pumped the brakes. And that was before people knew we could use Zoom and everything else. And that was something new to everybody, getting on Zoom. And they looked at the cost, which is not bad. But so we went from Zoom doing things, and as soon as I got a building, now we're starting to have guests live in the studio, and that is a good thing. I love doing that, love talking to people, and I'm gonna love this show today.
Yes.
I think what we're gonna do is, I have a list of questions I did not share with Dr. Cross, but I know that she is real good at things, so I'm not worried about her answering anything at all. So I'm not going to too much go in alphabetical or in order. I'm just going to just come up. Now, well, the title of the thing is Your Opinion Matters. Everybody got opinion about everything, whether it's religion, politics, sports, whatever. Everybody got their own opinion about it. Now, is your opinion right? In your eyes, it's right, because that's how you see things.
Right.
But in other people's eyes, they don't want to hear about your opinion. There are some people that force their opinion down your throat, and they over talk, and you can't talk to them. You just walk away. I do. I just walk away. I say, nah, you're not even worth my time to sit down there talking to.
Because they want to prove their point.
Precisely.
And their point is that they're overbearing. I'm gonna tell you, they're overbearing, and they want to force their opinion down your throat, whether they're right or wrong. And the funny thing about it, when they're wrong about their opinion, you don't hear nothing from them.
My husband and I have a saying that, your opinion is worth what? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
What is your opinion worth versus the facts? If you can't back your opinion up with facts, then your opinion is not worth anything.
That's true.
Me personally, I never understood the controversy in arguing about opinion, because if it's theirs, why don't you just let them have it? I have mine, you have yours. How come we just can't respect it and let each other have our own opinion? Even if it's different, it's yours. That's who you are.
I agree.
I agree with Dr. Cross. You want to chime in on that?
Yeah, because an opinion is, someone's belief or how they view something. It's their own opinion, so it's neither right or wrong, because it's just how it's not a fact, like Lakeisha said. A fact is something that can be proven true. An opinion is how you yourself or the other person feels about something. So,
Which leads to this question right here. Here we go. We were talking about this off camera. I said, Lakeisha, hold up. Wait till we get on camera. Would you return a lost wallet if it had a lot of money in it?
So is that to me?
That's to anybody want to jump in first.
I will.
So this actually happened to me.
There we go. Go ahead, sis.
It wasn't a whole lot of money in it to me. Of course, that's my opinion, right? Because $20 for somebody could be a lot of money, and $20 to someone else could be nothing, or not a lot of money. So the wallet had, I really honestly, I don't even know, because I didn't look in it, I didn't count it or anything like that. What happened was, so I was in the bathroom stall, and I heard some ladies come back in, and they were, looking for a wallet, and I just happened to look to my left, and on top of the toilet paper roll was the black wallet that she was looking for. And so I hurried up and finished and came out, and I said, oh, is that the wallet that you're looking for? Now, I could have been a dishonest person, right, and put it in my pocket or not gave it back, or whatever. But the lady said, oh, it had all my check in there, all my money in there. Oh, and she counted it, and I guess I think it was about 300 or something. I don't really remember. And she said, oh, that's too much money to be losing. And so to her, that was, a lot of money. But so to answer the question, yes, I would.
I would definitely, return it, because you don't know. You don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know what that money's for. You don't know, that could be their rent, their utilities. That could be that one payment that's saving their life, or that somebody gave them. And then for me to lay my head down at night, I can't do it. I was at Little Caesars the other day, and I went in, and I got my food. And then I went out to my car. I said, oh, I didn't pay for this food. Now I could have went home, right? I could have just kept, that was almost $60 that oh, you ain't hear that. That was almost $60 that I spent at Little Caesars. And I had to deal with myself in that moment. And I went back in there and I said, ma'am, I didn't pay for my food. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I take that payment? Yes, you can take that payment, but it's about integrity. It's about you being able to sleep at night. You're conscious. What is your heart saying to you? At some point you may be just as well in that situation and you lose your wallet.
Yes.
And you want somebody to return it to you?
Yeah, I was in that situation. I lost my wallet one time, and I was walking. This is when I was in high school. And I was walking across the church grounds to high school, and it was a football game that night. I had already bought my ticket. I had my little chump change in there. And when I went to school, I could not find my wallet. I didn't know where it was at. So about 2:15, don't ask me I remember that time, but I remember that time. About 2:15, they came and they called me to the office. I said, oh man, what did I do this time? 'Cause I was always doing something in school. Can you come to the office? And I went to the office. It was the preacher was there. He said, we found your wallet right here. And they gave my wallet. And I told myself, if I ever find my wallet, I'm going to do the same thing. Lord and behold, years later, when I stayed in a town in Lockhart, Texas, it was by the hospital there. I was going home one day. It was this lady wallet that was laying right there in the driveway. I picked the wallet up, drove home, called the lady, and she stayed in Austin. I called the lady and told her, hey, I found your wallet over here by there. I didn't touch it. Everything is in there. So she said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hear her husband in the background. You know he took something from him. You know he did. You know he took something from it.
Wow.
You know they're kind. He was just going on. So she showed up. She counted that money. Everything was in there. She turned around, looked at your husband, and said, you need to swallow your pride, what you just said. See, this is an honest person right here. She reached in there and gave me $50, and I refused it. I told her, no, you keep it. I said, you need to take him to a psychiatrist. So that's what happened to me, and yes, I did return it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to a wallet, the way I see it is this. It depends on how I'm doing in the month. If I can't pay my bills, I'm keeping the money. That's how I'm doing. Or it depends on how much trouble I gotta go to return it. That's what I'm just.
Y'all see, I'm looking like, not sir. I've been knowing you for 25 years.
To be honest, I know I would return it because integrity-wise, I just couldn't do it. And I remember me and my wife was on vacation, and I actually left my wallet in the Uber driver's car. And I remember how much trouble I had to go through to get that wallet. One, I had to cancel all my cards while we're on vacation. I mean, credit cards, debit cards, and I wasn't carrying no cash. So it was like, that was just, our whole vacation ruined until I got my wallet back. But, I was able to get my wallet back, but just that whole feeling, because we had went out to eat. I didn't have no money to even pay for it. So one of my friends paid for it, but that whole experience in a different city, not having any money, I felt destitute. And then I'm with my wife at the same time, so on the real, I just consciously, I couldn't do it, and I would hate for someone to have to go through just that little experience. And just even thinking about it, I remember I was younger, but I lost $10. For about 3 years, I kept looking, where I thought I lost it in that neighborhood. For some reason, I just wanted to keep going back there.
For 3 years, huh?
It bothered me that much.
Wow.
I wanted that.
Miss Queen, you want to chime in on that?
Yes, definitely. I would definitely return it. I've not been in a situation where I found a wallet before, but I definitely will return it. You got to think about, I think about it from a faith perspective. That's just the right thing to do. And like you said, you don't know if this is somebody's last. You don't know, if it's their, money for their kid's trip or money for, diapers, or you just don't know. And it's just the right thing to do, And you never know what blessing is going to come out of that,
Right.
Yeah. Can I piggyback on something my husband said? Let's just be real. If someone was in a situation and they're thinking about their food insecurity, okay, and they find this wallet and they got a way, this money I just found can take care of my family for a week or 2 weeks. Because we don't know what we gonna eat or how we gonna eat for the next 2 weeks. But on this end, if I return it, where am I going to be at if I return it? What am I going to do? The blessing, the curse. The blessing, the curse. I had a situation where I know someone had found the wallet or I don't know if it was a wallet, billfold, whatever. They found something. And the person that they returned it to not only gave them all the cash that they had in that particular item. Like I said, I don't know what it was, but they gave them all the cash that was in the bag or wallet or whatever that was in there, plus they gave them additional.
See.
Just because
Being
of their
honest.
honesty.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that
Yeah.
blessing of that curse, yes, I know, you may be dealing with food insecurity, or,
Yeah.
you may be dealing with life, right?
Yeah.
But the blessing behind you doing what's right,
That's right. You never know.
outweighs each and every time to me.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. So it looks like everybody said they will return the wallet.
Absolutely.
See, now that opinion right there, that was something else. Our opinion was all about the same, that this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna return the wallet, which is good. I like that. So, we're gonna jump on the next one. And we was debating about this one before you got here, Miss Queen, before you got here. Should students get mental health days off from school? Now, before we go there, I want to say there are 2 schools in the United States that give students a day off for mental health. They get 5 days per every 3 months, I think I read, for mental health. And how can I put it? My man brought it up earlier. Who is the one that dictates what is mental health and what is it for? And y'all had a good debate going on over there, talking about, what are the criteria? It changes all the time. So what is mental health today and what is it tomorrow?
We were talking about the DSM-5 and what diagnoses that are in the DSM-5 that constitutes mental health crisis or situations or diagnoses. And what Brian was saying was, because the DSM-5 changes, how can you truly, utilize that as a roadmap to determine if someone, is dealing with mental health issues or not?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I'm just going to say, I think that that's up to, of course, a professional to determine what constitutes mental health for that particular school, district, or school. But I do think that there should be something allowed for children who are dealing with mental health issues to be able to take that time. I know me as an adult who personally deal with mental health issues, I need my moments. I need my time.
Yeah.
So what makes me any different than a kid in today's society, especially,
Precisely.
Amen.
Precisely. Yes.
who may be dealing with some mental health issues and challenges, especially post-COVID.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and then the different situations that happen in our different school districts and schools. So I think that they should be able to have mental health days. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's designated by them, but in the midst of that particular crisis, if a student calls or a parent calls and says, my child needs to take a mental health day, here's the doctor's excuse. Keep it moving.
Yeah, I agree. I chuckled when I first took a look at that question, thinking about, when I was in school, which was some time ago, and there was just not even thought of, no matter what was going on, we had, things that could happen at the school. It can be something traumatic, kids getting sick or somebody had an accident, whatever, like major things, and you didn't hear about it before. I agree when you say I think it should be based on the situation. If it is something like, we've had a few mass shootings, things like that, yeah, definitely. Those children need mental health days. I think that they should have some allotted, not, like say, 5 per year. I don't know how they had it at those particular schools, but for something to use that it's not marked against them, when it comes to their attendance. But it should be on a case by case basis, because kids nowadays are dealing with a lot more than, what each generation had to deal with something. But I think right now, the state of our society right now, I think there's a lot going on and a lot for children to have to digest at such a young age. So
I'm gonna ask Dr. Cross, because she was in the school district for a little bit.
I was waiting on my turn.
Yeah, because I know, because you was in the school district, you've seen a lot of things in school that we don't see.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think that it should be based on the individual person's opinion. So I do think that days should be allotted to the students just as they are allotted to the staff members, because staff members now get mental health days and they don't have to have a diagnosed mental health issue or anything like that. And so because we are having mass school shootings and different things like that that affect people in different ways, just so just an example, there could be a mass shooting. Oh, okay. So, right. Not last year, year before, I think it was, right at the last day of school when the Uvalde shooting, took place. Right. So all my family was calling me from Chicago to check on me, check on my daughter. We weren't there at that school, but did that not affect a lot of Texans?
Yes.
Did that not affect a lot of people who were, living in Texas, around there, who were in the school system? So I may have needed a mental health day, or my daughter could have needed a mental health day, for that, because, she could have been quite shook up, and millions of other kids or students, and she doesn't necessarily have to have a diagnosed mental health issue for her to need a mental health day after that, because so many kids were just afraid to go back to school because of that, at the beginning of the school year, because that happened at the very last day of school. And so you go to, start, sorry about the background, but you go to start the new school year, and now you have this anxiety, you have this uneasy feeling, you have this uncertainty that you're going through. So I think that the students should definitely get mental health days, and they should be allotted, they should get the same amount as the staff members get, in my opinion.
I agree.
Well,
Yes,
let me
definitely.
just add to it. For my opinion with that, what I do agree with it, but because we're dealing with the youth, their mind is so delicate, it's still developing. I look at the source versus the symptom, and if we're not really trying to deal with the source, we're actually wasting the time to give them that time off, because they can come back more dramatic or more,
More traumatized.
Yeah, more traumatized than before. So with that, only thing I would agree with is if we do give them that help, we give them the day off, but they should be required, we should be required in the public school system to also render some type of aid that they should seek with those days off, because we need to be able to equip them to be able to come back a little bit better or more stable than what they left with. That's the only thing I would add to it, that we are trying to get them some kind of help because of how delicate their mind is as youth.
So my question is 5 days enough?
It depends on what type of help we're giving them, and if it's not about the days, they might need that short time off, but we are still offering them some kind of help on the backdrop of it, But
Yeah.
at least those 2 days, they can take a break from everything and just be able to get in a safe situation to where at least they can allow their mind to rest, to be open to the help.
Yeah. Ooh, see, that subject right there, this one right here could go on and on and on, because mental health is hitting everybody different.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, and so my question would be, who's playing mental health and who isn't.
That's what I mean. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But if we're making sure that they're seeking help with the day off, then those who are playing will be less to play with it, knowing that because you never know. We all can need help mentally because
Yeah.
we're dealing with like with
Life.
social media and everything.
Yeah.
Everything's moving so much faster than before. So you might need help and never knew it. So as long as we're getting them help with the days off, even if they're not taking it serious, we're taking it serious because they're at the end of the day, their mind is still developing.
Right.
And you just
Right.
never know. You have to cast that net of protection. Regardless of if it's a mass shooting, if it's a death of a loved one, if it's a diagnosis of a mental illness, you still have to cast that net of protection. Like my husband says, source and symptom. When we deal with people, we always, at least I know, just taking leave from my husband, is whenever I talk with someone, always source and symptom. Whenever I'm counseling someone, it's always source and symptom. I deal with mental health cases every day, and I always look at source and symptom and how am I going to cast this net of protection for this person that's in front of me. So if we're not giving them a solution to that day off, or while they're on that break or whatever, to be able to deal with and cope with whatever the mental health issue that they're going through, that crisis in that moment, we felt them.
Right. Well, I think there's two things. Kind of, I can speak to what Dr. Cross was saying also. What if it's not so black and white? What if it's the gray area? You're just overwhelmed. It may be you just had a couple of exams. You may be a senior thinking about college. You may be an 8th grader thinking about high school. You may have a sibling going off to school. And I'm just, thinking of things off the top of my head because I've been in higher ed for quite a while. But it could be any number of things where you just need a moment. You just may need that day. Now, I do think it's a good idea that there is something offered, right? But I don't know if I would make that mandatory because say for instance somebody is in just having a moment, right? And if we make that mandatory, I mean, it could be helpful, right? The parent takes the child, or the child as a teenager goes on their own and they go and speak to a counselor. That could be I think it's a good idea and I think it could be helpful. However, there's the thought that, or I'm thinking that what if it wasn't helpful? What if it was a situation where the person is, whether it's a death in the family, they're having a crisis, whatever they're going through, and they just need that moment to be still. And to force them to have to go and speak to somebody, it may not, what is going to come out of that one sitting or that 1 hour? I think it should be made available, but I don't know if it should be made mandatory.
I think available is good.
Yeah.
I definitely think available is good, and that's why I say that net of protection.
Yeah, definitely.
Casting it out there to make sure that they have the resources that can benefit them, even if they're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Okay, you're overwhelmed right now. What are some things that you can put into place? Whereas next time you have a mechanism to be able to help you through that process of being overwhelmed. If it's, time management, if it's something, practicing self-care or your breathing techniques, something that's a part of that, casting that net of protection for that person.
You just said something really, really good. You said self-care. Self-love, us taking care of ourselves. Aside from just giving them mental health days, what about implementing something like that in the schools altogether? Just taking time, whether it's once a month, once a week, to give children an opportunity to have a safe space to whether it's talking about something, in educating them on what mental health looks like, what it is, what is crisis, what it, different issues they may be going through as young adults and then teenagers. Maybe that along with availability of counseling, but making sure that they even understand what they may be going through. I know when I was younger, we had that health education piece, and it dealt with a lot of different stuff, right? What you would be going through in adolescence, what's going to happen as you get older. We had that. I don't know if they even still have those classes now. It's a lot
They still
different.
have it.
Was that Dr.
Good.
Cross?
I was just saying they do. They still have it.
They still have,
And
okay.
are they even speaking to that? Maybe if that was if that was something, if they were to implement something where they taught them what self-care is and how to go about doing that, and different tools that they could use, then maybe that also would help as far as, having those mental health days. That would help.
Well, it has, since the pandemic, since the school shootings, we have been overwhelmed well beyond that. I got a friend of mine named Martha Rice that she deals with that, and she said there's not enough mental health workers.
It's not.
It's not.
There's 350 patients for each worker, if I'm right.
Wow.
Maybe she'll call in and explain that to me. But it has just ballooned, and mental health is a vast. What is mental health? It could be kids being bullied at school and taken the wrong way. Be somebody at work, a coworker messing with them, and mental health falls into such a broad umbrella that there's
Yes.
really, I don't know if there's any guidelines, but I'm seeing actually there's no guidelines on some of it. They got the guidelines in that.
DSM-5.
Yeah, the
Diagnosis,
guidelines are in there, but they're constantly evolving and changing all the time. So how do we turn around and cope with that?
I think it's a matter of each individual, first and foremost.
Self-awareness.
Because what looks like mental health crisis to me may not look like a crisis to someone else.
Precisely.
So I think that having those conversations like you talked about is very, very important, and just really source and symptom, looking at what a person is going through, because even the youngest to the oldest can have a crisis. I have 7 grandkids.
Oh, wow.
And
That's a
all
blessing.
of them have their own dynamic personalities. And, I just look at each one of them. Something may make one sad versus something may make that other one happy. So you have to look at the individual aspect, but talking about it.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest lack that we have is talking about it, outside of not having enough professionals who are in the mental health realm, even with mental health social work, LPC, psychologists. There's just not enough to go around.
You just said something again, the communication piece. Like right now, it's not about communicating. I don't know about anybody else, but when we were younger, we had to talk. Like in the evening, whether it be at dinner time, whether it be right after school, you sat and we had a conversation, about what was going on. And now that doesn't really happen a lot for a lot of young people. That space is not given. Also, Ron, you said something also when you mentioned COVID, the whole pandemic. We got to remember we were stuck. We were in the house. We were sheltered in place. So you had to deal with yourself. There was no, let me get up, let me get ready for work, let's rush through rush hour, get to work, be busy all day, come home, cook dinner, tend to the kids, go. There was not that. You didn't have that same schedule. Now, some of us were working from home, but it still was not that hustle and bustle. So you had to deal with you, or your spouse, or your kid. You had to deal with it.
Yeah.
You had to deal with it, and so that is maybe why we see such a rise. And
Oh,
then-
definitely.
Do y'all think, I grew up in the 70s, right? We used to have a class called critical thinking skills.
Yes.
I think they need to return that.
Yes.
Because I think that, a lot of the kids, but when I'm talking about critical thinking skills, I'm thinking about like a lot of kids, they only see the pleasure or the reward. They fail to see the consequence,
Yeah, yeah,
And I think
yeah.
if the kids could see the consequence before the reward, it would make them be a little bit more cautious about some of the things that cause mental anguish for them. So me personally, my opinion is I'm voting for them to bring back critical thinking skills back to school.
Well, I was listening to everything. God, this thing pick up everything, don't it? Good God. I would say that was my stomach. If it was, I need to go to the hospital. But I'm going back to COVID again. I think a lot of the stuff started with COVID. Number one, we did not have time to prepare for this.
Yeah.
We just stopped what we were doing, and we made things up as we went along. Was it
Yes.
right or wrong? We didn't know. As long as we woke up the next morning without COVID, we were good. Now we're suffering from the after effects of COVID. Now we're seeing what really happened, that it really hurt a lot. It mainly hurt the kids because they like socializing. They couldn't socialize. Even though they had this with them, it wasn't the same as being in person
Yeah.
and interacting with kids. And that age group right there that happened, we got to watch them how they're going to fit going into high school and college.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of drawback now. We're going to get a lot of kids, my personal opinion, is going to be more withdrawn than being happy-go-lucky being out there. That's just my opinion.
I'm sure there are already. I mean, look at now, everything is social media. Everything is social media. I mean, you have to be on one, if not all of the apps. That's how you see what's going on at the school, what's going on with your friends, who's doing what. And then it's not so much as, the kids gathering up at the school. I mean, yes, if they're in activities and in sports, and there are some that still do it, but I agree, a lot of the kids are, they're introverted now more so than before.
Yeah.
And I believe that COVID did a lot of that because they're like, oh, okay. They don't have to communicate. And when I say communicate, I don't mean through any device or through the computer. I mean literally communicating face to face. And that's taken a lot of that away to even, when you look at how kids fill out paperwork, how they write papers, college students
WSAN radio.
how they do things. It's like they write how they text. You know what I mean? I don't know if you all have noticed that it's no more communicating and expressing your feelings. Everything is shortened, quickened. It's an emoji or shorthand of some sort.
Yes. There's no humanistic connection
to it.
We
Yes.
were
Yes.
built to have relationship.
Yes,
There's no
yes.
relationships
It's
going
digital.
on, no connection.
All right, if y'all hold on, we got a caller calling in. Martha Rice is calling in. Let me
Okay.
see.
Hey, Martha.
Let me-
Hey, I'm
Hey.
at home with a cold.
Oh,
I'm
so
gonna
you
need
can hear
you
us.
to get better. I've been waiting to see you since September. I'm gonna need you to get on better.
I know I keep getting these on and off crazy, so it's crazy. But anyway, I'm loving the subject. But I had to chime in. Y'all all got great comments. One of the things Ron was right. It is 350 per therapist. 350 patients per therapist, which is very overwhelming. That's why if you call in and need help, you have to wait. You're on a waiting list, and it takes time for them to see you and things of that nature because they're very overwhelmed. But I think people have to understand what mental health really is. Number one, it's not always dogmatic to the point of like connected to DSM-5. It's multiple things. It's when so the DSM-5, the purpose of the DSM-5 is to have a criteria for them to say, okay, how frequent, to really give them a diagnosis. That's the purpose of it. It's connected with insurance as well. how they get paid, things of that nature. But when you talk about if you're in distress, that can be anything that alters your mental state, where you distress, anxiety, all of that. It may not be extreme to the point it's a disorder, because mental health doesn't mean disorder.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's what people get it twisted. It's I'm in distress right now, and my distress is it's subjective. It doesn't you can't nobody can determine your level of distress. And I think that if we could drop the expectation of like, do they have a mental disorder, but actually are they in distress? If they're in distress, no matter what level it is, I think they should have to take a day off
Yes.
and deal with the matter and find out the root cause. Because if we don't, we continue to keep the stigma going, but we also don't get them the help they need, and we make them feel shame.
Exactly. We got to give them that safe space, regardless of the crisis that they're in.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to call in and say. And then I wanted to see if I could really call in too and see.
Oh, come on, Ma.
It said on the thing, ask the lonely, and I'm like, okay. No.
Yeah, well, I answered, and it came in blank because I don't have your number saved on this phone. So I thought you was one of the Medicare people calling me saying, "Have you seen your latest?" No, I haven't seen anything, but but we do
But
appreciate.
yeah, I'll let y'all keep going and keep listening because it's good.
All right, we appreciate it, Martha.
Bye,
All
girl.
right.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Martha Rice calling in. She's a life coach and also a counselor. So something told me she was going to call in.
She helped push me to get my master's in clinical mental health.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yes, she
Yeah,
did.
She will push you.
Yes, she will.
You know what's that song? Don't push me. I'm so close to the edge. She will push you over that edge.
She definitely, we've been knowing each other for quite some time.
Yeah. All right. We don't beat up mental health. That I think we're gonna hit one more before we take a break. Dr. Cross, you want to chime in on something about mental health before we change to another question?
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Now, we talked about this one too. So,
I know where you're going.
and you know, I just, all right. Let me. I'll put the camera on me. I'm on the spot right here. All right. This is one that my opinion is totally the opposite of anybody else. Before I even read it, it says, should students be required to take an SAT and an ACT test to apply for college? This is my opinion. I'm gonna give mine first. Absolutely not. The reason why I say that is this test is not for the people or students who's in poverty. Their upbringing was totally different than what this test was written on. I think Brian said it was over in Europe or somewhere with this.
Well, it's a European test for a European mindset.
Right. And if you go take that test and you're not there, you're going to fail it. That's the bottom line. You're going to fail it. Now, there are schools now that are teaching the test. Now, is that just as good as learning or teaching the test? My philosophy is you need to learn it, because anybody can teach anybody to pass the test, but what do you get out of it? That's just my opinion. All right, Dr. Cross, I see you over there sweating bullets. I see you over there. But I have not been a fan of standard tests for kids to graduate from high school. If you taught the basic math, English, history, whatever, they should be able to pass no matter what. Why do we have to have a standardized test for them to pass to move to the next grade? And also, some schools are teaching that test. I'm gonna leave that alone.
That's all they do is teach.
Dr.
the
Cross, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, can I go first? Because I'm probably going to have to, after the break, I probably won't be able to come back because my flight board at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
But, okay, in my opinion, absolutely not. I have several reasons for this. First of all, I think Mr. Howard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It said something about it being a European test. Also, we are the United States that are not united, right? And we're not
Say
right.
that.
Every state different, different rules, different everything. And they also teach differently. So where I come from, Chicago, you had to have a 4-year degree to actually be a teacher, which means that it was invested in you. You really, this is something that you really wanted to do wholeheartedly. When I moved to Texas, there was something called alternative certification where you could be from any walk of life and just go and walk into this place or wherever and pay this amount of money and get alternative certification that you don't even have yet. You just start working on it and they put you in the classroom. You're not invested into these children and into their lives. You don't really care about, what's going on. And then getting back to the standardized assessment, so I said all of that to say that it's the same exact test that all of these kids are taking, but they're getting different education. They all
Say that.
getting something different, but you are expecting them all to pass
Uh-oh.
She froze on us.
something different. And I just don't like it. I don't understand it. I don't appreciate it. And on top of that, being in the school system, not in Illinois as much, but in Texas for sure. My God, they test those children to death
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
every week. Is a test. I mean, they have an entrance test when they walk into the classroom. At the beginning of the year, they have a 9 weeks assessment that the district is giving, and then they have a 9 week assessment that the teacher have to give to complete her grades for the stuff that she taught for the 9 weeks. Then they have a semi-annual district assessment, or so. I mean, they just come up with names for assessments every week. It's a different test or a different assessment. And when I was a teacher, I always used to say, I can walk in a classroom and by the end of the first day, I know where my students are. Each and every one, I can tell what they need, what level they on, where I got to take them, what I need to do with them, because it's invested in me.
There you go.
It's veins. It's in my blood. I live and breathe to educate these babies, and everybody don't have that same passion. And so, for us to, as a nation, expect for these children to be able to take a standardized test in order to get into college is just absurd to
A
me. So,
standardized
I agree.
European test.
There we go. I
Yeah.
agree. I'm not a fan at all. I agree, Dr. Cross, on so many of the points that you were making. And it's interesting to me, I'm from Chicago as well, and isn't it interesting that when you look at where the ranking is for the schools down here, I was shocked, and I won't say because, I won't say, but the ranking here is much lower, but they test it all the time. And it really makes you wonder, but they test it all the time because of the qualifications that are required for the persons that are responsible for teaching them. And then we talk about the different the socioeconomic class and how the education is. What are we being taught? And then, like you mentioned, Ron, just the students being taught for the test. I am not a fan. So my child is not learning anything other than how to pass this particular standardized test that is not designed for our children anyway. I don't understand it. If we
and
just talk basics, the basic information. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I hear you over there. I
I'm,
hear you,
I'm
Dr.
sorry.
Cross.
I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. I hear you.
Because there's such a drastic difference, like you said, between here and where we're from. And I'm pretty
Yes.
sure it's the difference all over the, United States, all over the world, all over the country, right? So, when I was a teacher, I was able to teach outside the box. When I
Yes.
was a teacher, I wasn't held to, if I wanted to teach a different curriculum, it was okay. And my students, I mean, they soared.
Yes.
Here, they don't even, how many field trips I took my students on being here in Chicago and in Texas. Um, they said that we could only go on one field trip a month. I mean, a year for the year. I took my students on field trips every month. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off
Yeah.
talking now. So
So,
okay.
I mean, I agree that learning happens, and then so much. So, learning does not only happen in the classroom, right?
Yes.
Learning is something that happens more outside the classroom and with real life experience than with anything. And to be able to teach, that's one of the things my friends and I speak about, the difference in coming from Chicago and coming, and being here now in Texas, is a lot of people, especially persons of color, are not aware. I'm not going to say persons of color, black people are not aware of it's the culture. It's like they're missing that piece, and then those that might have an inkling of the information are not
Yeah.
even they're not aware in how they fit, how that fits into who they are. I'll put it that way for lack of a better term. But culture meaning just being able to speak to different things, going to museums and going to art galleries and going to an actual zoo and an actual, aquariums and understanding about different things. That's more than just somebody asking me a standard question that has nothing to do with the life that I live, or that something that I would never even see, or thinking that I wouldn't have to be prone to, because I don't have to. I have to endure other things aside from just what this paper is telling me. My life consists of more than just the questions that you're asking, because we have to live in the skin every day. And it makes a learning that comes with that. When we go out and express what we see, what we may see in a photo or what we may see in a piece of art is going to be much different than what our European society and what everything is based on here. It's going to be a lot different, because that's not, we don't see things through those eyes. We have to see things through our experience, and our experience has not been an experience that's inclusive at all. But that'll take me. I'm gonna get off my high horse. I can go down the rabbit hole.
Okay, before we go, I know for you say something, Brian. I'm gonna let Dr. Cross go because it's 9:00 and I don't want her to miss her plane.
Yes.
We appreciate you taking time out the airport, being on Crystal Cross, Dr. Crystal Cross.
Yes.
This was very enjoyable. Thank you.
Okay, and
Have safe
Travel
travels, sis.
safely.
yes.
Thank you.
And bring me back a bag of Jay's potato chips.
It's too late. It's too late.
Okay. All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank
Okay.
y'all. Y'all enjoy.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Okay. Bye.
Alrighty.
All right. That was Crystal Cross. She was chiming in all the way from the airport on her way to Chi-Town.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, but we appreciate you and everything. Now, Brian, you was getting ready to say something.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna give my opinion from a black male's perspective, right? Now, this is just my opinion. I believe that the SAT and the ACT is actually there to discourage young. I'll make it more applicable to me. I believe that it's there to discourage us from going to college, because we're taking a test that does not apply to us. So it makes it seem like we're not worthy to go to college, right? So we end up going in the opposite direction. But I can pretty much bet my check for a whole year, if we look at statistically, those who
Say that.
actually bypass having to take the SATs, end up going to college, end up doing excellent in college, and they have great careers to this day because they never had to take the SATs.
Say that.
Yes.
Say
So
Yes.
that's what I look at it, and that's why I strongly believe that it's a European test with a European mindset, and it doesn't even correlate our intelligence, or my intelligence as a black man, or our intelligence as black men coming up. It's just discouraging. And I just think that I guarantee if you look statistically on those who end up going to college as adults that didn't have to do that, they are exceptional in the college curriculum.
Speaking of statistics, do we have any statistic to show exactly when those tests were designed and when they started? Because I bet you, if we look at it, well, first of all, we already know that everything is by design.
Oh, yeah.
And exactly what you said, that is exactly the reason that these tests, these aptitude tests and standardized tests were created in the first place, not just to discourage, but to eliminate our opportunities to do certain things. I mean, we do have schools and universities that are HBCUs and that are designed, so that we did have those opportunities, but at every turn.
It was probably a week after integration.
Exactly right. Exactly right. You know what I mean? And it's like, even when we get a table of our own, and they not, if we build the table, sand it down, get it perfect, and sit at it, then they want to see that, and they want to decide how exactly we're going to rule at this table. But for these standardized tests, I do agree with you wholeheartedly that they are designed as a way to eliminate our, not only to take away that you're not self-esteem, but to put you in a mindset that you're not worthy of or that you can't, but also to just eliminate that opportunity altogether.
Because the average younger black male, our minds are still developing.
Yes.
So it takes a little bit longer as a male for your mind to fully develop.
Yes.
So when you're younger, you're more influenced. So it's very discouraging.
Yes, it
And
is.
to piggyback off that, saying our mind is always developing, we are thrown stuff at us. The
Yes.
first thing we're scared of is the police.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw that in there. How can your mind develop when you're always looking over your shoulder that somebody's gonna do something to you?
Any authority, any type of person that has any authority, because it is by design. It is by design that not only we as a people are not as successful, but especially our men. We can see that, and I promise not to go down the rabbit hole, but we can see that in just, if we
It's
look
coming.
at, right, I'm trying
I see you trying, but it's coming. It's coming.
we can see that in everything that we do. It's like, okay, this is not working, let's try something else. This is not working, let's try something else. But these standardized tests, I think, are a beginning to that.
And I think that with the standardized testing, like our different state testing,
Yes.
right? You teach the STAR, or I'm from Detroit, Brian's from Ohio. Each state has
Y'all had
their
the Iowa test also? Did y'all
we
have
had the meat test.
Oh, okay.
So each state has their particular test. But what you're doing is you're teaching that student that state, and
Yes,
that's it.
that's it.
But you're
Yes.
not expanding their mind that they can go to Germany, they can go to Italy, they can go to Egypt and Japan and learn different things. You're just teaching them to pass a test, but not expanding their horizon of the potential that they truly have. I mean, here I am, a little old girl from Detroit, bad as heck growing up, okay? Kicked out of all Detroit public high schools, had to go to all-girl Catholic school. But I've seen the entire world,
Yes.
and it wasn't because I took the meat test. It was because of what my mom instilled in me, but the decisions that I had to make to get me out of where I was at. So if we're just keeping their minds to here in Texas or here in Michigan, there in Michigan, or wherever, and not expanding, we're doing a disservice to our children.
Exactly.
Now, just before we go to break, I'm gonna mention this. Years ago, very years ago, Japan came over here and studied our education, how we taught. They took that, went back to their place, enhanced that, and now I'm going down a rabbit hole right now myself. Why is it that we get people from other countries come over here and they excel in our education and college and stuff. And we got people right here that will not do it.
You know why? Because the U.S. is designed to move people out of fear. We have always been designed that way. It is a fear tactic. Our news, our media, everything. It's to put the fear in people to get them to move. It's manipulative in how we get our society to move. In other countries, you get the news and that's it. You get the real true facts. It's not about a fear factor. It's not about trying to get you to believe one thing or another. It's not, granted they do have those news sources, but overall, in most other countries, you're getting true fact. And you get to have your own opinion about whatever it is. They're going to tell you this is what he said,
And
this is what he said, and you have your own opinion.
And that news is raw.
Yes.
It's very
it is
raw.
very raw.
You see things they wouldn't show over here.
And over here is they've been manipulated to say, okay, well, we need these people to move like this, so we're going to do this. We need these people to move like this, so we're going to do this. And in fact, so much so that depending on where you are in this country determines what type of news that you're going to see in the first place. I mean, look at how granted, Chicago is bad. There is a lot going on in Chicago, but the way that they depict it in other countries, I hate when people walk up to me and say Chirac. No, I'm not from Chirac. I'm from Chicago. I didn't have that experience. And granted, it is bad everywhere. I'm saying it's getting worse. Because it's getting worse all over the world. But
And that's the key. It's not just in
it's
one
not
location.
just in
that
one
is bad.
location.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
You're going to find a bad neighborhood
Everywhere.
wherever you go. It doesn't matter where.
But the media needs to move people a certain way. So our country is based in that. So it's okay. It's the goal to make sure that we keep our children closed-minded so that they don't expand. They don't want to go to these other countries. Do you know how many children and young people I hear say that they don't want to go here? Oh, I wouldn't go over there. Why?
I
Why
hear it
not?
a lot with Haiti.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Haiti.
Why
All
not?
that black magic and this and that. Haiti is the most beautifulest country I've ever seen.
But you would go to the
Beautiful.
Dominican Republic, and the only difference is the people that colonized them, and they the same people.
Amen to that.
Exactly.
But anyway.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go ahead and
Outstanding.
take this break. We're on a roll. We're on a roll. I'm letting everybody know that we are broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and we have all that going on. And we're gonna be back with Lakeisha, Brian, my queen, and myself. So y'all just sit back, relax.